Gonna tie my tan caddis. This is Tiemco 921 number 12. Okay, gonna grab a little golden pheasant. Actually, pretty good sized bunch of this. And I'm going to come up right to halfway down the hook and tie that in by the butt right there. Okay, now I left some thread hanging off the rear end of the hook, and I'm twisting that hurl up in that thread. And I'm just going to wrap it forward and just twist it every wrap. Gives you kind of a really cool colored segmented body. Okay, I'm just going to tie that off. Trim that stuff out. Okay, I'm going to come forward to about there. Grab a little elk hair. I'm going to clean that out. Grab my stacker. Stack that up. And this wing is twice as long as the body, which is half as long as the hook, so the wing is just as long as the hook shank. So I'm going to tie that in with that measurement in mind right there. A couple loose wraps, crank her down. And I'm just going to wrap her back to where the body starts. Okay, I'm just going to grab these butts and pull them up like this. Cut them off close. Make sure that that's all tied down in, and I want that elk to flare around in a 180-degree fan, so I'm just going to kind of pinch it with my fingernails there and make sure that it's fanned all the way around and right on top, and it is. Okay. I'm going to grab some of this sap float viz. You can use whatever kind of Antron type yarn you want to for the post on your parachute, and I'm just going to take a chunk about that big. I'm going to double it in half, trim it, and then I'm going to come right into the middle of that forward chunk there. I'm going to wrap this one down with about 4 real firm turns. I'm going to pick that straight up. I'm going to come in here and post that up. Trying to make sure that I don't catch that elk hair. Just tighten as I work my way up. Sometimes when you're first tying this fly, it's better to take a little copper wire and wrap it around that wing so it doesn't get in your way, and then when you're ready to do the next step, just get it out of there. I want to make sure that that's straight up and down and in line with that bend of the hook. And it is, so I'm just going to grab a little hare's ear. And I'm put just a little tiny bit of dubbing on the thread here. I've already got a pretty thick base underneath this, so I don't want to put a lot of dubbing on there and make it look too fat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one wrap right here, right in front. Then I'm going to kind of work my way back, and I'm going to wrap kind of soft wraps out onto that wing just a little bit. Then I'm going to pull some of this out of here because I don't need it. I'll take one more wrap right in front there. Okay, now you can use either a ginger variant or a Cree hackle if you can find it, but Cree's pretty tough to find, so I try to get a dark ginger variant for this fly. And I'm going to trim it right along the stem, so I've got it trimmed a little bit more on the side where I'm going to wrap first. I'm going to tie this in on my side, right in front of that post. Make sure that it's in there good, and the hackle is basically the brilliant part of the hackle is up and it's parallel with the table. Okay, now I do this differently. People will tell you this is totally wrong. I'm going to spiral my way up to the top, right to the very top of that post, and then I'm just going to tweak that thing back and forth and work my way back down. Okay, I'm always wiggling, making sure I'm not trapping any wraps underneath the other ones, just wrapping my way down. I'm going to try and get as much hackle on this thing as I can possibly get on there. And that really, it doesn't matter how many wraps. Some people will tell you only do 4 wraps. Well, that doesn't work very well if your hackle's not really good hackle. Sometimes it might take 8 wraps of some hackle to get it the equivalent of barbs that you get with another hackle, so you just got to do it until it looks right. And then I'm just going to pick that up and I'm going to tie this off. Tighten it up a little bit. Tie it off. Reach in there and clip that. Got one stray one I'm going to get rid of there. Okay, and then just a little tiny bit more dubbing. Just barely cover the thread with dubbing. Slide that up. Okay, then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab the hackle and the whole shooting match and I'm going to pull it back. And I'm going to start in front and I'm going to work back underneath that hackle and then back forward. Okay, and then I'm just going to come in and tie it off. Same deal, I'll pull all that stuff back and just wrap a little head in there, tie it off, trim her up close, pull that post back up, primp that hackle, and then come in and trim it so you can see it. And I'm going to kind of primp the fly underneath a little bit. I've got a couple fibers of elk that rolled over, so I'm just going to come in with the points of my scissors and trim those out. And it's done. And that's what it looks like from the bottom, which is the fisheye angle, and that's the one you're concerned about the most. And that's it.